Good morning, all of you. Today we will continue with the history chapter, European powers in India, and we have already had a look at mercantilism, the major global trade routes, then the trade wars, about the different trading companies in India. We have studied about all of them also in detail, and we have also studied about the Anglo-French rivalry, then about the three Carnatic wars, and also done the reasons for the success of the British and the failure of the French. We have done all that, and we have started the conquest of Bengal. Okay, so with the Carnatic wars, the English, they have already established their supremacy in the south, and after that they were ready to expand their kingdom on and expand their wings in other directions also. And now this they did by treacherous and deceitful means they did this by betraying other people and misinterpreting the truth, misleading and all. So what the Britishers did, they pitted one ruler against another. They said things about rulers which were not true to another one, all right, made them fight among each other, all right, and conceal the truth, did not tell them what the real thing was. And so by deceitful means, the Britishers, they made one ruler fight against the other ruler here in India. And now after the Mughals, they declined, so Bengal, it was ruled by independent rulers. So after the decline of the Mughal Empire, Bengal, it was ruled by independent rulers, and Ali Vardi Khan, he ruled over Bengal, Orissa, so Bengal and Orissa. And so he did this from 1740 to 1756, and he was an efficient ruler. And he was a smart ruler, so he understood what were the real intentions of the British, and he tried to keep them in check. And they were not allowed, so he did not allow them to fortify their settlements, means build defensive walls around their settlements. He did not allow them to. And so he kept the Britishers in check till the time he was ruling in Bengal. But in 1756, Ali Vardi Khan died, and the son of his youngest daughter, Siraj-ud-Daulah, he became the Nawab of Bengal. And now Siraj-ud-Daulah, he was the son of the youngest daughter of Ali Vardi Khan. And so when he became the next Bengal, so his relatives, they obviously did not like this fact, and they planned to overthrow him, to remove him from his position of Nawab. And the Britishers, they tried to take advantage of this situation and make gains for themselves from this instability, means the people, the king fighting among his own people, with his own people and his own relatives, trying to overthrow him. So the rule was not stable and it was not strong, so they tried to take advantage of this. And as soon as Siraj-ud-Daulah, he became the Nawab, so they had frequent conflicts with the English merchants. So they started, means during his time, there were conflicts with the English merchants there in Bengal. And what happened in 1717, the Mughal Emperor Farooq Siyar, he gave the British the right to have duty-free external trade, means they did not have to pay any customs duty for external trade. But what happened, the Britishers, they took advantage and they extended this privilege to internal trade also. Though internal trade duties, they had to be paid by everyone, the British traders also, the foreign traders also, as well as the Indian traders. But what they did, though this privilege was only for external trade, but they extended this privilege to internal trade also, and they stopped paying the duties. And so the Nawab, obviously he was not happy with that, and he gave warning to the British East India Company. And in spite of his warnings, the Britishers, they started to fortify or to make defensive walls around their settlements at Fort William. And when the Nawab officials, they went there and asked them to stop the work, asked them that you are not supposed to do this, so they were insulted by the British officials. Now, so Sirajuddaula, he was the Nawab there, and he got very angry at that. So he attacked Qasim Bayar. Now, Qasim Bazar was an English factory, and so Sirajuddaula, what he did, he attacked Qasim Bazar, and he captured Kolkata. And now, the attack was unexpected. The English, they were not expecting this, that the Nawab will uh, attack them. So they were simply unsuspecting. And so many English officials, they saved their lives by taking shelter at Fulta, which was across the river Ganga. And some of the British officials, they died of suffocation when they were put in a small dungeon. So many of them were put in a small dungeon, and a few of them died because of suffocation. And this incident is known as the Black Hole Tragedy. So that was the condition in Bengal. And so Robert, because of this if of this conflict between the British East India Company and the Nawabs there, so Robert Clive, he was sent from Madras, and he was sent along with him. Admiral Watson was also sent with his soldiers, and they recaptured Kolkata in early 1757, means in the early months of 1757. And Sirajuddaula, he had to sign a treaty with Clive. And as a result of this treaty, the British, they got back all their possessions, as well as they also got the right to trade without paying any duty. So they also got the right to trade freely there in Bengal. And the Britishers, they promised that, okay, from now on we will not interfere with the governance of the province, and we will not interfere with the governance of the Nawab. Though they promised this, but they never kept this promise, and they always interfered in the working of the governments there. Now, we have already seen that Sirajuddaula, he was not liked by his own relatives. So, his own officials, his relatives, and the bankers there, there were some very famous bankers there, which were called as the Jagat Seths. Now, all of them, the banker, the relatives, his officials, they were all against him. And now the commander-in-chief of Sirajuddola's army, Mir Jafar, now he wanted to become the Nawab himself. And so what he did, he went to Clive and negotiated with him, and this he did with the help of a banker called Amin Chand. And so they all planned that in order to get rid of Sirajuddaula, Clive, what he did, he signed a treaty with Mir Jafar, and he said that, okay, Clive promised that, okay, he will make Mir Jafar the Nawab of Bengal, and in return, what he'll have to do, he have to give large concessions to the East India Company, and also give huge wealth to Clive. And now, since Mir Jafar, he wanted to be the Nawab, so he agreed. Okay, now the Battle of Plassey 1757. Now, because Mir Jafar, he joined hands with Clive, so what happened, he did not fight this battle. Now, if the commander-in-chief of your army, now he does not fight, then what happens? So many people also will not fight, and you start with losing only. And so they lost this Battle of Plassey. Now, the beginning of Britishers' political control over India, now it can be traced to the Battle of Plassey in 1757. And now this was fought between English and Sirajuddaula, who was the then Nawab of Bengal. And the Battle of Plassey, it was a very important, a decisive battle, means and why? Because it had very far-reaching results, far-reaching consequences. Now, what happened in this battle? The Nawab, he was defeated, means Sirajuddaula, he was defeated and he was put to death. And Mir Jafar, who was the commander-in-chief of the Nawab's army, he was made the Nawab. Now, this new Nawab, he was just like a puppet in the hands of the English East India Company. And so he was just like a puppet. Puppets, they don't move on their own. Do puppets move on their own?
No, ma'am.
How do
No, ma'am.
puppets move? How do puppets move? Have you ever seen puppets moving? You know, you have strings, there's strings in your hands, and as you move your hands, the strings will move, and so will the puppet. So what we can say, that all the strings were in the hands of the British, and he was just like a puppet in the hands of the English. And the English, now we could say that they were the real rulers of Bengal. Though Nawab was there, Mir Jafar was there, but you know, he was just like a puppet, so the real power was in the hands of the English only. And so you know, the English, they got the right to free trade in Bengal, Bihar and Orissa, and also got the right of collecting revenue of 24 parganas also. Then now you know, because they got the right to free trade in Bengal, Bihar and Orissa, so you know, they were not paying custom duties, their money was being saved. And then you know, they also got the territory of 24 parganas, and from there you know, they could collect the revenue also, so they were getting money also, wealth also from here. And these resources, now Bengal was a very rich province, very prosperous province, and so the resources of Bengal, they helped English to defeat their English rivals, that is the French and the Dutch. And so what we can say is that the Battle of Plassey was very important. Why? Because it laid the foundation of the British Empire in India, and it also paved the way, means it opened the way for the British, so that they can control or conquer the whole of India. Okay, now something about Mir Jafar and Mir Qasim. Now we have already seen that Mir Jafar, he was made the new Nawab of Bengal in place of Sirajuddaula, and now he was not, Mir Jafar, he was not a capable ruler, and he was just like a puppet in the hands of the East India Company. And you know, till the time he was able to pay money, he was like a golden sack for the Britishers. You know, whenever they wanted money, they asked for him and got the money. Now when he refused, then what they did, they removed him and put Mir Qasim, who was his son-in-law, in place of Mir Jafar as the Nawab of Bengal. So till the time he was giving them money and fulfilling their demands, they were okay with it. As soon as he said, now I don't have any money, so they removed him and made Mir Qasim the new Nawab in place of Mir Jafar. Now Mir Qasim, he was a able governor of Bengal, and once in power, you know, he tried to free himself from the control of the Britishers. And now he is said to be the last Nawab to you know, assert his authority, make use of his power and authority. And so there were a few things that he did. He reduced the expenditure on administration. Then people who were not competent enough, not able to work properly, he removed them from their position. And even those officials in his court, those who were close to the East India Company, so he also removed all those people. And so obviously, you know, this was not liked by the Britishers, and so the company, they decided to remove Mir Qasim. And the British, they announced that again they will make Mir Jafar as a ruler in place of Bengal, in place of Mir Qasim. So because Mir Qasim was doing all this, so they became angry with him, and they said that okay, now again we will put Mir Jafar as a Nawab of Bengal in your place. And so another battle, which is known as the Battle of Buxar, it was fought. Now let's see what was this Battle of Buxar. Now the Battle of Buxar was fought in 1764. Battle of Plassey was fought in which year?
1757.
1757, alright. And Battle of Buxar 1764. Now the Battle of Buxar was fought between the English and the combined forces of three rulers. First, Mir Qasim, who was the Nawab of Bengal. Then Shah Alam, who was the Mughal emperor at that time, and Shuja-ud-Daula, who was the Nawab of Awadh. So English and these three combined forces, they fought against each other, and the combined armies of the three clashed with the English at Buxar in 1764. And you know, in this battle they were very badly defeated, and as a result Mir Qasim, he fled, ran away to Delhi, whereas Nawab Shuja-ud-Daula and Shah Alam, they submitted to the British. Now, historians, they have given a lot of importance to this Battle of Buxar, and according to Sir James Stephen, he says he is of the view that the Battle of Buxar, it deserves more credit than the Battle of Plassey as the origin of the English power in India. So he is of the view, Sir James Stephen, he is of the view that Battle of Buxar is more important as the origin of the English power in India. Why? Because in Battle of Plassey only the Nawab of Bengal was defeated, but in the Battle of Buxar it was not only the Nawab of Bengal but also the Nawab of Awadh. Now that was also a very important province, and even the Mughal emperor. Now all of them were defeated in this battle, and this gave the English an opportunity to bring under their control the northwestern part of the country under their control. Now, if we compare these two battles, the Battle of Plassey 1757 and the Battle of Buxar 1764, now we will find few differences between the two. Now, the Battle of Plassey, it made the Britishers the master of Bengal, whereas the Battle of Buxar, it made the British an important political power in India. Now, Battle of Plassey, they were able to defeat the Nawab, and so we can say they became the masters of Bengal. But by the Battle of Buxar, they became a very important political power in India. Now, and the Battle of Plassey, it was won. The English were able to win it through conspiracy, because Mir Jafar, he signed a treaty with them because he wanted to be the Nawab, and so it was through deceitful means that they won this Battle of Plassey. But the Battle of Buxar, it was won because the Britishers were militarily wise superior than the Indian forces. And one more difference, like in the Battle of Plassey, only the Nawab of Bengal was defeated, whereas in the Battle of Buxar, the Nawab of Awadh, the Nawab of Bengal, and the Mughal Emperor Shah Alam, all three were defeated. Okay. Now, after this Battle of Buxar, Robert Clive, he entered, they signed a treaty. So he signed a treaty with Shuja'ud-Dawla, and as a result of this treaty, the Nawab, he surrendered, he had to give Allahabad, which is now called Prayagraj. So he had to give Allahabad and Kara to the East India Company, and he also agreed to pay 50 lakh rupees as war compensation. Now just imagine, we are talking about 1764, 1765, and that even today, when 50 lakh rupees is such a great amount, how big an amount it would have been at that time. So he was made to pay 50 lakh rupees as war compensation. Then later on, Clive, he also signed the Treaty of Allahabad on 12th August 1765, and this he signed with the Mughal Emperor Shah Alam too, because the Britishers, they defeated Shah Alam also in this battle. And so through this treaty which they signed with the Mughal Emperor, now he was taken under the company's protection, means now he was not a free or a sovereign ruler, but he came under the protection of the company, and he was granted a pension, an annual pension of 26 lakh rupees. And so he lost his freedom, autonomy, and he came under the control, the Mughal emperor, he came under the control of the Britishers. And so now what they said, that okay, now we will give you annually this much amount of money, and in return for that, you will have to grant the Diwani rights of Bengal, Bihar and Orissa perpetuity, means lasting forever. So in return for these 26 lakh rupees annually, now what the emperor had to do, he had to grant the Diwani rights. Diwani rights means the right to collect revenue. So he had to grant them the right to collect revenue from Bengal, Bihar and Orissa, means forever, lasting forever. There was no end to this contract, and they can take it as long as they were there. Now this Treaty of Allahabad, it marked the end of Nawab's authority in Bengal, and This led to the establishment of a dual government there. Dual, as the name suggests, means two governments there. And now through this dual system of government, the Nawab, Nawab, he had all the responsibility, means he had to look after the administration, the law and order and everything, whereas the company, they had the right to collect revenue. So the money was in the hands of the Britishers, whereas the Nawab, he had to provide all services to the people. He had to administer and he had to take care of law and order. And so to put it in brief, what we can say is that what was this dual system of government, that the Nawab, he was given responsibility, he had responsibility, but to fulfill that responsibility he did not have any power, whereas the company, they had all the power but they had no responsibility at all. And so we have read that the Treaty of Allahabad, it gave the right to collect revenue, and not only the right to collect revenue but also to control the army in Bengal. And at that time Bengal, it consisted of Bihar and Orissa as well. It was a very huge province. And so money came into the hands, collecting revenue came into the hands, and also they control the army now, whereas the Nawab, he was made to look after the welfare of the people. And this is what is called as the dual system. Means one party has all the responsibility but he does not have any resources, no money, whereas the other party, they have all the power, all the resources, but no responsibility to fulfill. And now this dual system, this proved to be very harmful to the people, because what happened, the company's officials, they were greedy and they were corrupt and they tried to fill their own pockets. So the collector of taxes, they were called amils, and they tried to collect as much money as possible from the peasants. Why? Because some amount, a set amount, they have to give to the Britishers, but all the rest, it came into their pocket. So they tried to collect more than required. And so the result was that the condition of the peasants, the condition of the farmers, it became very poor, it became miserable. And the company, they also did not give any help to the people of Bengal, even in times of drought. And so in Bengal, there was a famine in 1770, and because of this there was a huge loss of life. What is drought, by the way? What is drought? Yes, anyone? What is drought? What is famine? Anyone here knows what is drought and what is famine? Come on, class 8D, you don't know this simple thing?
Some scarcity of water.
Yes, beta? Yes, Soumya, what were you saying?
Ma'am, scarcity of water.
I am not, your voice is very soft, I am not able to get what you are saying. Okay, drought is shortage of water. What you call in Hindi as? What do you call that? Shortage of water in Hindi? Yes.
Ma'am, sukha.
Right.
Ma'am.
And shortage of food grains is called famine. What do you call that in Hindi?
Ma'am, akal.
Right. Okay. So a famine broke out in Bengal in 1770, and this led to a huge loss of life, because the company, they did not give any help to the people there. And the Nawab, though he wanted to help, but he did not have any money in his hand. And the Britishers, they had money, but obviously they did not wanted to help the people. And now the income, as a result of this drought and famine, the income of the company and also the income of the zamindars, it fell. And so because of the defects which were in this dual system, Lord Warren Hastings, he abolished the dual system in 1772, and after that Bengal came under the direct control of the East India Company. And so to conclude, what we have a little bit about Robert Clive. That Robert Clive, he came to India. So he came to India as just an ordinary servant of the company, and he rose to be the governor of Bengal for 2 terms, 1758 to 1760, and also once more from 1765 to 1767. And he had qualities of a military commander, and he showed them in the Second Carnatic War. And though odds were against him, but still he won the victory, and he also won the Battle of Plassey in 1757. He was a shrewd statesman. Shrewd means, he has sharp powers of judgment. He had very good power of judgment. And statesman, now statesman is a politician who had a long and respectable career. Now that could be at national or international level. So he was a shrewd statesman and a reformer. And Clive, he is regarded as the founder of the British rule in India. Now, after the death of Aurangzeb, there was political confusion in the country, because the lesser Mughals, they were not so strong and able rulers, and India lacked political unity during the 18th century. Then the defeat of the Marathas in the Third Battle of Panipat, it also weakened the possibility of another stronger power in India, and it dashed the Marathas' power to the ground. And so, what the Britishers they took advantage of this political weakness of the Indian rulers, and they started waging wars against the rulers here, against the independent rulers here, and they became successful in these wars and were finally able to establish the British Empire in India. Okay, so that was the chapter. Have you all understood what we have done today?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Alright, so when we meet again, then we will do the question answers and the exercises of this chapter.